going to interact with you on a very important managerial skill, that is motivation. So I'll focus on two aspects of motivation. One is motivating self and motivating others. Why I'm taking two aspects? Because if I am not motivated myself, if I am not motivated, I cannot inspire others. So uh, before I proceed with the concept, types of motivation, and the techniques of motivating self and others, let me share with you a very small quiz containing 12 statements. So this PPT is visible to you. So there are 12 statements. What you can do is, on a piece of paper, you write the serial number of the statements and the 5-point scales: not at all, rarely, sometimes, often, and very often. Please read all these 12 statements and uh, give a tick mark in the column that most applies. Okay, for example, I am unsure of my ability to achieve the goals I set for myself. So you have to give response out of these five responses: not at all, rarely, sometimes, often, and very often. So please, you can have 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes we'll let you know the scoring part. So you need not write the statements on a piece of paper. Simply write the serial number of the statement and the 5-point scales. Okay, so you have completed all the 12 statements. Now let me tell you the scoring part. So what you can do is, you can note down serial number 1, 7, 8, 10, and 11. So put a tick mark on these statements: serial number 1, 7, 8, 10, and 11. Now for these five statements, if you have responded to not at all, so give a score of 5. If you have responded rarely, give a score of 4. 3 score to sometimes, 2 score to often, and 1 score to very often. So I repeat, for serial numbers statements 1, 7, 8, 10, and 11, please give a score of 5 to not at all, 4 to rarely, 3 to sometimes, 2 to often, and 1 to very often. Okay. Now for the rest of the 7 statements, that is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 12, score in reverse. That is, if you have responded not at all, please give a score of 1, 2 to rarely, 3 to sometimes, 4 to often, and 5 to very often. So I repeat, for statement serial number 1, 7, 8, 10, and 11, 1, 7, 8, 10, and 11, score in the order of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And for the rest of the 7 statements, you score by giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 respectively, and then compute the total score. So please share your total score. Yes. So what is the total score you have obtained? I repeat the scoring part. For the statement serial number 1, 7, 8, 10, and 11, give a score of 5 to not at all, 4 to rarely, 3 to sometimes, 2 to often, and 1 to very often. And for rest of the 7 statements, you score in reverse. That is, 1 score to not at all, 2 score to rarely, 3 to sometime, 4 to often, and 5 to very often. Yes. And let me tell you that there are no wrong or right statement. This is your own, perception towards yourself. That is, uh, uh, these statements apply to you, and how do you see respond in such situations? Yes. So I am getting score 39, 50, 42, 38, 46. So the scores range between 38 and 50. So let me interpret as per the author of this particular quiz. If your scores range between 44 and 60, 44 and 60, you are wonderful. You get things done, and you don't let anything stand in your way. It means you make a conscious effort to stay self motivated, and you spend significant amount of time and effort on setting goals and acting to achieve those goals. So you attract and inspire others with your success. So try this. And those who have scores ranging between 28 and 43, it means they are also doing okay on self motivation. You are certainly not failing. However, you could achieve much more. To achieve what you want, try to increase the motivational factors in all spheres of your life. So you can identify those areas or those statements in which you have got a score of 1, 2, or 3, and try to work upon so that you can reach uh, up to 4 or maybe 5. So this questionnaire was about motivating self. As I said you in the beginning, that we can inspire others only if we are self motivated. Let me give you another instance. For example, say it is now 4 o'clock in the evening, and you are looking forward to a relaxing evening. But you know there is just that one important call you have got to make, and friends, you have put it off 3 times already today. And you know also that if you don't get it out of the way, it will be on your mind all night. So sometimes, friends, it is very difficult to uh, give push to yourself. The push you need to get on and do those undesirable tasks, whether it is a report writing or answering an email or to deal with a pile of papers that are lying on your table. We all need to motivate ourselves sometimes. So, the longer you delay doing something, the more stress and pressure you are likely to feel. And after a while, you may even start to lose confidence in your own ability to complete the task at all. Likewise, you are the HOD of your department, and you want that all your colleagues or subordinates uh, perform effectively, because as a HOD you want better results. You want better performance of your colleagues towards the attainment of the predetermined goals you have set for your department. Likewise, it is also true for a teacher also. So the question is how you are going to attain those goals. Obviously, you will say that the colleagues or the subordinates must possess the ability to do work effectively and efficiently. Ability in the form of knowledge, skill. But does that suffice? Can the ability or training of people alone bring good results? Certainly not. So, in order to have better results, better performance, the the employee or the subordinate should have the willingness or eagerness to exert high level of effort in addition to their ability to do that work. Now, again, a problem before the section head: how to have its able and trained people who are encouraged, who are impelled towards the activities of the department. And this is precisely what we mean by challenge of motivation. That is what motivates people and how people can be motivated. So let me you see take the help of my this PPT. So you see, we will focus on the concept of motivation, the approaches, the types of motivation, and the approaches to motivation, then motivating self and motivating others. So, to motivate others, you need to be self motivated. So, motivation is actually a process, or you can say it is concerned with why of behavior, the reason behind people putting in effort. It is the process which leads the individual to attempt to satisfy some need. Motivation actually refers to motives in action. And what is motive? Something that makes a person act in a particular way. And the motivated behavior is always a goal directed behavior. The strength of motive, the pattern of motive influence one's perception of thoughts, actions, and words. So, motivation involves or includes the ability, that is for having good performance. Alone ability is not sufficient. The person must have the willingness or eagerness. So, ability may include the aptitude, training, resources. So, motivation means the desire and commitment. All elements are, you see, necessary for bringing good amount of performance. So, it is emotional stimulus that causes us to act, uh, or it is a need or a drive that energizes certain behavior. A drive that encourages action or feelings. It means igniting the spark for action. It can persuade, it can convince, it can propel you into, you see, certain kind of action. Now, what are you looking at this picture? a girl is trying to make horse drink water, but it is not taking the water. So, well, you cannot force the horse to drink water, but you can always make the horse to drink water by giving it plenty of salt first. And the same reasoning can be employed, can be applied to the subordinates in the department or to the students in the classroom. Students resist to learn. You cannot force your students to learn, but you can always make them want to learn by salting, salting, salting your teaching with techniques for creating student interest. So a teacher, or you see a boss, HOD, who is attempting to, you see, get the work done from the subordinates without first inspiring them to towards the work, is simply hammering in cold iron. So motivation is, you see, very important. uh, Coming to the concept of motivation, it means what makes people put real effort and energy into what they do. That is why I told you that it is concerned with why of behavior, the reason behind people putting in some effort. You see, success does not come to you, isn't it? You go to it. So motivation, you see, is the desire, or it is the willingness of a person to expend effort to reach a particular goal or outcome. Motivation is the emotional stimulus that causes us to act. The stimulus may be a need or a drive that energizes certain behavior. And at work, motivation is a combination of all factors in our working environment that lead to positive or that lead to negative efforts. If we understand that what motivates us, we are more likely to achieve our personal professional goals. Likewise, if organizations know how to motivate employees, they can enhance the productivity. So motivation increases productivity. Now, it is getting people to do willingly and well those things which have to be done. Now, the question is, can I be motivated by others? No, people motivate themselves. What someone can do, however, is inspire them to motivate themselves. So people can create environment that is motivating. You have to choose yourself. Now, let me share with you a brief process of motivation. You see, motivation begins with some need that exists within us all. For example, if the need is very strong, say acute hunger, or the person is thirsty, he or she will not be able to concentrate on anything else unless that need for food or thirst is met to some extent, isn't? Okay. Okay. So it begins with need that exists within us all, and if the need is not satisfied, it causes physiological or psychological tension, and that leads the individual to attempt or prepare some plan of action. And if the plan of action is, you see, conducive or suitable and it is well planned, then that will provide a person relief. And in all these situations, you will not get relief. It means as a person, you need to prepare alternative action plans also, okay, to get relief. Now, coming to the uh, types of motivation, one is extrinsic motivation. That is, in a classroom, the student does not learn of his own accord, but under the influence of some positive reinforcement. You see, uh, the parent says, if you get all A's, you will get 500 rupees as incentive, or you will get a bike. In the classroom, teacher says, Ramesh ji, you have said very right. You are wonderful. That motivates. Okay, you have shown his sketch to all the students. Look at this sketch, how wonderful he has done. Look at his assignment, how wonderful it is. That is external motivation. It is not inherent in the behavior, it is something which is administered by some external agent. At home, parents, elder brother, elder sister, and in the institute, it is the senior HOD or the director or the principal. In the classroom, it is the teacher who is providing external motivation. So it is the need to complete a task or perform an activity for the sake of a reward, privilege, or externally derived satisfaction. And as I told you, that it is not, you see, inherent in the uh, uh, behavior. It is something which is imposed on the task or the individual by some external agent. And friend, this is when you are motivated by external factors that are given or that are controlled by others, like say in a college, by salary, by monetary, or by a praise. Praise is a very simple thing. You can say very cost effective technique of motivating. Although there will be some intrinsic motivation involved if you enjoy aspects of what you do. When I say, Ramesh ji, you have said very rightly. So I'm calling my student by his or her name. You see, calling a person, calling your colleague by name is just wonderful, because a person's name is to him or her the most important and most sweetest sound. So always call your colleagues by their name, and if you put G also, that will sone pe sohaga. So you see, supermarkets use loyalty cards, money, sports may crowd may cheer the performer, trophies. All these are extrinsic motivation. Now moving to intrinsic motivation. This is inherent. A person does a work. Why? Because that gives him satisfaction, feeling of happiness that working on some project produces. You are doing to satisfy yourself. You are doing not to show to others. That is intrinsic motivation. So it is something that has been internalized and is the drive to do things for their own sake, or you can say for self reward. And this is when you are motivated by internal factors. Many hobbies, you see, they are based upon intrinsic motivation. Like say one is going for morning walk every day, whether it is raining, it is sunny, it is cold. One plays badminton in the evening every day, okay, for his own satisfaction. So we do all these activities because we enjoy them and not because we have to. So uh, coming to the approaches to motivation, Let me talk to you about classroom motivation first. Motivation can be regarded as a function of overcoming student resistance to learning, isn't it? They resist. So many techniques have been viewed as approaches to minimize student resistance to learning. There are three approaches. One is the behavioral approach, which makes or which emphasizes the reinforcement of desired behavior through some positive reinforcers. It is based upon extrinsic motivation. So, uh, let me say that use moderation, do not overdo it. You see, many psychologists believe that people are motivated to obtain reinforcers and avoid, you see, punishment. So extrinsic motivation is not inherent, as I told you earlier. It is administered by some external agent. And the behavioral perspective on motivation helps explain why some students prefer particular subjects, why they spend some time on assignments they prefer not to do, or why they try to please some of the teachers. So according to this perspective, something in the environment there is something in the environment that reinforces these behaviors, or these behaviors help the student avoid some punishment. So as I said, use moderation, do not overdo it, because some may feel that you are trying to manipulate them. Additionally, they may only engage in the desired behavior in order to earn the immediate reinforcement without understanding the long term benefit. So, when you enter the classroom, enter or try to, you see, introduce your lecture by explaining the rationale. Never enter the class with with one remark. Today my topic is this. Today I am going to talk to you about this thing. Today I will discuss. They'll say, sir, this is your headache, please go and break your head. You need to explain the rationale, because students want to know why they are sitting in the classroom. So the why part, so explain the significance of the topic first. Okay, so that will help them, uh, you see, pay attention to you. So behavior modification has got three components. One is the stimulus. Stimulus could be any object, any person, any event that leads to a response, and response is a unit of behavior that follows the stimulus, and reinforcement is the consequence of this response. So, if a particular stimulus response pair is accompanied by a desirable consequence, then it will be more likely that the stimulus involved will prompt the same response in future. So, it is based upon psychological law of effect, that is, behavior which is accompanied by satisfaction on the part of individual is likely to be permanent or repeated than the behavior which is accompanied by dissatisfaction or failure. Now, let me share with you the four techniques which you can employ for motivating your students or motivating your, you see, colleagues. It is, first of all, it is the positive, you see, reinforcer. So a consequence that encourages the repetition of a given behavior is said to be positively reinforced. So you need to begin with positive aspect first. Always appreciate your colleague's effort. You have done a good job. Wonderful. So that will motivate him. Sometimes he has done a remarkable work. Take him to the director of the or the principal. See, sir, how he has performed. So you see, this is a positive reinforcer, that is a consequence that encourages the repetition of a given behavior. You see, that is positively reinforced. Second is the negative reinforcement. This is also called as avoidance learning. That is, it involves giving a person an opportunity to avoid a negative consequence by exhibiting a desired behavior. And this takes place when when a student learns to avoid or escape from unpleasant consequences. You see, we learn to drive safely in order to avoid accident, isn't it? Say, some person, your subordinate is always submitting proposal, wonderful proposal every time, but this time you have noticed that there are a lot of spelling mistakes, and you will call him. You will say, Ramechi, in the past you have been submitting good proposal, but this time your proposal has got some spelling error. It means I am giving him some opportunity. So what he will do in future, he will try to, you see, incorporate spell check before submitting the final proposal to the head, in order to avoid future criticism. So it means you are providing him or her the constructive, the informative feedback. You are not attacking the individual. Now there is another individual, HOD, he says, look at you, this proposal is typical of you, short on facts and badly presented. So I'm attacking the individual. This kind of feedback will not be acceptable to any one of us. So we will begin with positive reinforcement, then giving the opportunity to improve upon his behavior, that is negative reinforcement. So these two techniques can be used to increase the frequency of desirable behavior. Now coming to the third, that is the extinction. That is, this involves providing no positive reinforcement or removing previously provided positive reinforcer or consequences as a result of his or her undesirable behavior. You are not punishing him, but you are ignoring for some moment. You are not giving attention to him. This is another, you see, you can say kind of penalty. And the fourth one is punishment, which involves providing a negative consequence as a result of his or her undesirable behavior. So, positive reinforcement needs to be given in public, punishment may be given in private. Say, one of your student is creating nuisance in the classroom. You can ask him to meet you uh, after the class in your chamber. So, once he comes to you, you will, you see, ask him what was wrong with you. He may give you some feedback. Okay, you are not punishing him in front of. So the later two techniques, that is extinction and punishment, can be used to decrease the frequency of undesirable behavior. So proceed with the positive consequence, moving slowly to giving constructive feedback, ignoring the undesirable behavior, and then providing some kind of punishment, that is, you are not giving any kind of incentive, or you can say privilege to him or her. The second is the cognitive perspective, which makes use of intrinsic, you see, motivation. So those who are intrinsically motivated, they are likely to prefer challenging work. They have some incentive. They have some incentive to work for their own satisfaction, attempt solutions to problems on their own. They are independent, they take initiative, they are not dependent on anyone. So slowly you start with the extrinsic motivation and let them realize the significance of that particular work, and definitely they will indulge in intrinsic motivation. Another approach is humanistic perspective. According to this approach, when a person is actually motivated, he or she is in a state of tension and he or she is ready to, you see, uh, move towards satisfaction of his needs. And Abraham Maslow has arranged all the human needs in the form of a hierarchy. And at the bottom of this hierarchy, that is at the base, he has kept the physiological need for food, need for water, need for fresh air, need for clothing, need for shelter. So these are very much necessary needs for sustenance, for physical comfort, which are crucial to a person's performance in the organization. Once these needs are met to some extent, can the individual pursue for the satisfaction of higher need in the hierarchy. Then comes the safety need for security, need for protection against deprivation of the lower level need. So he or she wants a safe working environment, safe working condition, a periodic increase in the incentive and other benefits. So once this need is met to some extent, another need in the hierarchy gets activated. According to this approach, once the lower need is met, only the higher need in the hierarchy gets activated. So persons need to feel accepted or receive, you see, affection, and uh, be a part of the group. So you give work in small groups. You explain the importance of doing work in a team. So persons who feel excluded or rejected have difficulty attending to work related, you see, activities. Then coming to the self esteem need. Okay, that is the need uh, for recognition. Okay, uh, when I say, Ramesh ji, you have said very rightly, so that will motivate him or her. That is, you see, self esteem need. So you need to recognize the good work done by an individual, and the thwarting of these needs produces feelings of inferiority, or you can say weaknesses or helplessness. Then is the need for self actualization. That is the need to develop skills and potentialities to become what one believes one is capable of becoming. So need to reach out to your full potential. uh, uh, if I ask you, have you reached up to self actualization? You see, those who have attained self actualization have either become sports person, poet, musician, and so on. And I've asked you, when you were at doing 12th class, whether you thought of becoming a teacher. I think maximum of you will say no. So it means many of us have joined teaching profession by force, and not by choice. So a common question that comes to our mind is that whether we ever fully actualize. I think the answer lies in the individual. People actualize at different levels. Some people are satisfied, for example, with a bachelor's degree from a local college, whereas another person feels a need for a master's or a doctoral degree from a very reputed, prominent institute or university. Likewise, some individuals reach their full potential at a simple job, in a simple college. Others, you see, self actualized individuals tend to be creative and will thrive on, you see, acquiring more information, more feedback. Now ये जो theory है, this has uh, been failed, because according to this theory, once the lower level need is met to some extent, can the individual pursue for the development of next need in the hierarchy. बहुत सारे individuals you will look in the society, they have got self actualization, but their lower level needs are not met. But this theory has given a platform for others theory to, you see, come for the motivation of the people. But I am not focusing on those theories. Now let us have a look at what are the factors that demotivate many of us. One is unfair criticism, negative criticism, and one person indulges in negative self talk. मेरे से तो नहीं हो सकता, आई कैनॉट डू दिस. अगर आप खड़े होकर ये बोलेंगे यस आई कैन डू इट, यस आई कैन, यू स्पीक 10 times, you will get lot of energy, you will be able to do tasks, many tasks. Say yes I can do it, yes I can do it. Public humiliation, when the boss is humiliating one colleague in front of other colleagues, rewarding the non-performers, fear of failure. Person always gets use success. He doesn't bother about doing any kind of planning, so that leads to complacence. So this is another, that is overconfidence, lack of direction. Some letter comes to a subordinate and with the remark, please discuss. Now what to do? He keeps that letter in his drawer. After 2 days, he goes to the boss. Sir, you have called me for discussion. The boss fires at him. Why did you come earlier? Sir, you have not mentioned about the date and times. Okay, you have come. Have you done this? Have you done that? No, sir, you have not told me. So, direction, lack of measurable objectives. Likewise, you see, many a times we ask subjective type of questions in the classroom. I ask my students, what are Newton's laws of motion? Now, to this question, different students will respond differently. One student may think of writing the statement of the three laws. Another student describes each of the laws with one example. Another student tries to give two examples. Definitely, a student who has given it, who has written enough and explained with two examples would get full marks. What is the fault of the other student? So your question needs to be more objective. Rather than asking what are Newton's laws of motion, ask, or you can say rephrase this question, describe each of three Newton's laws of motion with one example. Now the scope is known to all of us, all the students. So lack of measurable objectives, low self-esteem, lack of priorities. The person doesn't plan, doesn't prepare, doesn't prioritize his activities, politic, unfair treatment, responsibility without authority, and hypocrisy. So these are some of the factors that demotivate many of us. So now let us have a look at the techniques of motivating, you see, self, and then we'll talk about techniques of motivating others. Make the task more intrinsically satisfying. Okay, try to, you see, think about how you can develop yourself by doing this activity. how you can contribute towards the development of the organization. So think in that term and try to provide your own extrinsic rewards. Okay, if I finish this task today, I'll have a good coffee with my colleagues or with my family members at home, because that gives you satisfaction. So fix your own extrinsic awards. Change your attitude. That will help you change your behavior, which in turn will change your thinking. First, change your attitude. You cannot change others. You have full control on yourself. Change yourself. Change your attitude and approach, and think about why you do what you do. That you have to see yourself. Set smart goals. These five components must be visible in the goal statement. It has to be specific, it has to be measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound. So when you are writing goals for yourself, the goal has to be specific. Means you need to use word which itself gives direction. Break your task down into simpler, smaller pieces. Sometimes the task seems so large and you do not know where to start. So please do the task analysis, that for this particular uh, assignment I have to do this, then this, then this, then this. Prioritize. Try to focus on the first aspect, second aspect, then third. So in that way you will be able to you see, you want to organize your office almirah. There are four shelves. You can begin with first shelf first. Try to organize. That will give you confidence, that will motivate you. Built in accountability by telling your colleague or your senior about your task. It will motivate you if you know that someone else is expecting you to complete the task. Master time management. Wonderful. You see, time is the only resource which Almighty God has given to all of us in equal quantity, whether the person is rich or poor, intelligent or ignorant. Everybody has got 24 hours a day or 365 days a year. So you need to plan your time. Always prepare a list of to do things for next day. Now you can include your personal activities also in that list. Now when you go to office next day, if you want to, if there is something to be delegated to your subordinates, you will delegate. After 2 hours you will monitor the progress, and before leaving the office you can see which tasks have been accomplished, which needs to be carried forward, and which needs to be new tasks need to be included. So that is the time management. And don't postpone any activity onto next day. Do not procrastinate. And let me tell you that procrastination is world's number one time waster. Reward yourself, making an agreement with yourself to give yourself a reward when you complete a task. So scare yourself with the negative consequence of not doing it. If I don't do it, that will be that will give bad impression. You see, you can love and respect others only if you love and respect yourself and have faith in your own capability. Yes, try to do this. You see, SWOT analysis of yourself. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? For overcoming those weaknesses, from where I can learn, I can get information. Maintain self discipline. It's a gap between what you do, that is what you want to do, and what you actually do. So please prepare a plan, prioritize the activities, and then work accordingly. Don't fear failure. And keep learning always. Try to acquire, try to upgrade your knowledge, upgrade your skills. Now, you have already heard about the old crow's thirsty story. This was an old crow, and it was putting small pebbles in the pitcher, and then slowly the water gets up. Now in this case, he has upgraded his skill, so he is using a straw to drink water. So keep upgrading yourself on regular basis, and helps other. Sometimes you can swap task with your colleague. You try to surround yourself with positive thoughts, with positive people, and create an accomplishment log before going to home. Prepare, write on a piece of paper what you have done today, what you could not accomplish today, why, what was the reason. Make a good plan for the next day. So motivation myth is that everyone is in agreement in a motivated workplace. No, you can give your, you see, other views also. You can be different, but you need the justification also. Motivated employees work plenty of overtime. No, if you are organized, you have prepared a plan, you have prioritized your activities, and you have prepared a good, you see, action plan, you can achieve your task within the time. And employees who are motivated do not need much input from management. No, they want support from the higher, you see, from the HOD. A formal plan for motivating employee is not necessary. It is necessary. Even a teacher has to prepare and plan his lesson. You might have delivered the lecture plenty of times, but every time you need to plan it, because planning gives you confidence. You can also anticipate the likely question that the student may ask from you. So it checks haphazard way of teaching. So planning is very important. And above all, money motivates best. No, is the it is the intrinsic motivation that provides, you see, satisfaction to the individual. Now let me share with you a small video, okay, uh, because that will help you in learning this one. आपको ये सुनाई दे रहा है? Please tell me, is it visible and is it audible to you? Yes, please बताइए.
Audible, sir.
Okay. So did you like this video? Did you like this video? Hello. So what is 212 degree? 212 degree is the temperature of boiling water in degree Fahrenheit, and the video begins with the one remark that at 211 water was hot, and at 212 degree it started boiling, and then steam was produced, and steam was used in many ways. So it says that it is just a 1 degree of extra effort that makes the difference between the good and the best. So there were five parameters, five attributes which were included in this video. That your attitude must be, 212 degree. That is perfect attitude, 100% correct attitude, and 212 degree, effort, 212 degree focus, okay, 212-degree kindness, and 212-degree perseverance. So keep going, keep moving. It is up to us. We need to put in extra effort to reach our goal effectively. Let me show another small video that will also give you some motivation. So now the session is open for discussion.